So yesterday, we talked about speed and intensity. I'll tell you when I really got schooled on all this. I was still in my early 20s. I was crossing the lobby of a hotel where I had just spoken at a conference. J Meyer, a future mentor, and another one of the speakers at the conference saw me and yelled out, "Hey Darren, you want to ride back to Texas?" Where I was living at the time. I said, "That'd be great," knowing that he had his own private plane. He said, "If you're back down here," looking at his watch, "in 4 minutes, we'll take you with us," he said. Luckily, I had pre-packed my bag and it was waiting up in my room. I rushed up to retrieve it, called for checkout, and was back down in 3 minutes and 52 seconds flat. When we got out of the car and walked through the private airport, I found myself having to make a little jog step every 5th or 6th step just to keep up with Paul's gait. Mind you, the man was 50 years my senior. When we boarded his plane, one of his executives said, "We're just waiting for David. He's not here yet." Paul looked at his watch and said, "He's got 6 minutes." And then 3 minutes later, he said, "Let's go." I asked, "Doesn't he have a few more minutes?" And Paul snapped back, "If you're not early, you're late." After the plane was airborne and leveled off, I asked Paul, "How is David gonna get home?" "He's a big boy. He'll figure it out," Paul said. Paul could see the shocked look I had on my face, so he decided to elaborate. He said, "I'm not gonna stall my schedule and a plane full of my executives from moving forward because one didn't mind his watch. Besides," he continued, "it won't surprise David. He knows how we treat time around here." I learned so many lessons that day. Here's what I learned. 1, speed. Paul did everything fast. He talked fast, he decided fast, he acted fast, he walked fast. I think it was Stephen Covey who said, "You will travel at the speed of those you walk with." Walking next to Paul made me realize I needed to step it up and walk faster. In life. Number 2, time. Time is money, and time waits for no one. Everyone must respect time. No story, no excuses. You're either early or you're late. You're either there or we're gone. Period. Wow, right? I love how clear that is. I love that simplicity. And number 3, intensity. If there was one word to describe J Meyer, it was intense. He did everything at full throttle. There were no walk-through drills in his life. Every day was full pads, full contact, at full speed. I mean everything. His business, his marriage, his friendships, his 1936 Ford car collecting, his tennis, his photography hobby, his reading, I mean everything. Paul would walk into a room, light it on fire with his intensity, and walk out. After spending an hour or two with Paul, you'd either want to run through a brick wall or go take a nap. Usually both. I remember saying to him one time, "Dang, Paul, you're pretty intense. Where do you get that quality?" He smirked and he leaned forward to ask, "You know who the most intense person to ever walk this earth was?" I replied, "Mike Tyson?" half joking. Okay, no. Abe Lincoln? Nope. Teddy Roosevelt, I said. He said, "No, Jesus." "Really?" I said with a scrunched face. Paul looked me intensely in the eye and asked, "You ever try to fast?" I said, "Yeah, one time for 3 days, and I thought I was going to die," I said. Paul said, "Jesus did it for 40, snickering, just to see what it was like to suffer hunger." Paul continued, "Jesus walked into the Jewish holy temple and wrecked the place. And guess what? No one even tried to stop him. Why? Because he did it with such ferocious intensity." "You know how intense you gotta be to raise the dead?" Paul asked. "Hell, the man walked on water," he continued. "That takes super intense focus. Just try it." And he was willing to subject himself to the most horrific torture and death man has ever known, Paul said, concluding. He also asked, "Did you see the Passion of the Christ?" He said, "True story," looking at me intensely. I should add, Paul was a JC fanboy. Paul went on to say, Jesus was even too intense to stay dead. 3 days later, they went looking for his body, and he was gone. He is on to doing whatever was next on his schedule, I imagine, he said with a wink. And based on his example, Paul said, I think we all need to step our intensity up just a bit. Well, Darren Daily friends, how about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, what level of intensity are you living? And tell us now, what level you intend to be living starting today. Declare that with us in the comments below.